Vivienne, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much. How are you today?
I'm very, very good, thank you. So I'd like to start this podcast off with some quick fire questions, get the audience knowing a little bit more about you. So to start you off, night in or night out?
Do you know what? It's definitely a night in now. I wish I could say it was night out, and I never thought I'd be that person who preferred a night in, but come on, it's just so good, isn't it? We've got so much good stuff to watch on TV, and night in.
Is that always been the case or since COVID?
Since COVID. I was a night out girl. I would never have chosen to stay in. But yeah, I just love it. I just love being at home. But I'm older. It's about time I've started staying in.
It's calmed you down.
Exactly. I have a 21-year-old son, and it's when you start seeing them out and then you're like, yeah, okay, I should start staying in now. And I love it. We have friends around a lot as well, so we're still really sociable, but in the house.
I love that. A book or a podcast?
Oh, babe, I am a podcast obsessed. I can't even read a book anymore because I think I'm addicted to sound in my ears. Like I can't be alone with my own thoughts. And I tell you what it is as well. I know we're going to talk about this later as well. I'm so used to being in a salon environment that noise and chatting has always been like the sounds of my day. But now I work at home. I still listen to podcasts as I'm typing emails, as I'm working, because I feel like I almost need that sound. I'm so used to it. So podcasts all the way.
I'm the same. I do love a good book. I mean, right now I'm sitting in my office and there's books everywhere. But now I feel that I go to read it and I'm reading it, but my mind is like on other things. So nothing's going in. Whereas a podcast goes in, or an audio book that goes in also.
Yeah, exactly the same.
Work from home or work from an office?
So I work from home. I think I would prefer to work in an office or work from a location away from my home, which is kind of on my list to do, like my next step really, because look, I used to work in a salon. I was behind the chair. I stood up from one end of the day to the other. Now I sit down all day. I'm in a bucket chair and my bum is basically starting to fill this chair. Like I need to get out of the house. It's essential that I start having to at least walk from my car to the office or something. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I find working from home a struggle. I loved it and it was real like, oh, get to work from home. Don't really need to do that much makeup. I could put my trackies on, but it gets into a routine of I procrastinate a lot from home. Whereas if I go and work in one of the offices, I get so much more done. Like just being around people as well. It's quite hard, especially from that we're both the same. We've been in a busy salon, busy all the time. Then going from being quite isolated and at home, it can be really hard, I think.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. So I always thought it was great to work from home. Like, you know, it's cutting down on lots of costs and stuff. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to get back out there and venture outside the front door. Because you can literally at home go, I have not left the house for 5 days. Like, that's not right.
No, it's not. Luckily the school run, that's my get out and come home, and then that's it for 5 days. And then lastly, Facebook or Instagram?
You know what I'm gonna say, don't you? It's Instagram. Like literally, I go over onto Facebook now and again to I have a Facebook group as part of my social club, the Instagram course I do. But I'm not comfortable on Facebook side of things. I'm so comfortable. I love Instagram. That's where I thrive, is on Instagram.
I love that, and we'll dig a little bit more deeper into that in a little while. But do you want to do a quick intro and just tell everyone who you are and what you do?
Of course. So I'm Vivienne Johns and I am the founder of the Hairdresser Social Club. But I am a hairdresser. So I started hairdressing 26 years ago. I had a salon for 18 years of that. And through that journey of being a salon owner, I realized quite late, I wasn't early to the party of Instagram at all. I realized quite late that Instagram was, a really big missing part in our business. And I was going to have to start learning how to make Instagram work for our business very, very quickly if I was going to escape. I always had this fear of our salon becoming, the salon that used to be the best salon in town. There's all one there, right? And people will say, that salon used to be the best salon in town. And I always had that fear of we were on that slope to that. And I just thought, no, I'm not ready. I'm not letting that happen. And I started learning how everything to do with online marketing. So email marketing, Facebook marketing, social media, everything that we needed to do, marketing in general, really, from flyers to every sorts of grassroots marketing. But for me, the biggest results I found were through Instagram. And that was not until I never ever kind of knew that that's what would happen. I thought, it's going to be much more grassroots was going to work for us, but Instagram for us in our business changed everything. And then I'm a natural educator. So if I know about curly hair, I teach curly hair. If I know about blondes, I teach blondes. I'm just a natural educator. And I'm a networker. I love talking to people. I always have lots of friends in the industry. So people started to ask me, how do you do this? And how did you do that? And, on Instagram. So I just started to share that knowledge with other people, which has grown to turning it into an actual business. Probably very similar to yourself. The mentoring starts kind of with one person. And then it grows with other people coming and sharing with you that they have the same problems. And then you realize, actually, I can just, instead of talking to each of you individually, let's turn this into something where you all come to me and I share it with you all at once. Because it was the transformation that I'd had 2 years before that I was kind of sharing with people. And that's really led to where I am today. I'm not in my salon anymore. I left my salon in December 2020. Is that right? 21 maybe? No, 2020. To focus on this full time, because anybody who knows or does any kind of online education or mentoring like this, it's very hard to balance the two. So I made the choice. I really felt I could give back so much on this side of things and challenge myself to learn a whole new range of skills I didn't even know I needed. And they're not even anything to do with Instagram. It's all marketing, to run an online business. So that's where I am today. The Hairdresser Social Club is my baby and I am loving it.
So is that a membership? Do you do one-to-one? Is it all just group? How do you work?
Yeah, so what I do is I do it in courses. So I do, it's not a membership, it's 12-week courses. So I have classes that are short classes you can watch, like you literally go on and watch them now. So pre-recorded short classes. I have absolutely loads of free content to download. But my main part of the Hairdresser Social Club is the 12-week course. And I run that. I have been running it twice a year, but I feel like now, because there's so much want and so much interest in it now, I think I might up it to 3 times. I might do a summer social club. We'll see. Haven't quite figured that one out yet. Might do. But it's usually twice a year. So spring and autumn. But might stick a summer school in there. Who knows? We'll see. And that's what I do. It's really good. I didn't want to do a membership. And the reason I don't do a membership is because Instagram keeps changing all the time, all the time. And I really like that people all come in at the same level and learn the same thing with each other at the same time. That works really, really well for me. And I find that works really well for the social clubbers as well, because everybody is talking about the one topic at one time, and we don't have somebody coming in who's going, hang on a minute, I don't even know anything about what you're talking about. So it just keeps everybody more on the same level, which works for me.
Yeah, definitely. So would you Would people only come with you? How do you know that they're on the same level when they come to you? Or do you have like a screening before that to make sure they're on the same level? Would you say you're more for newbies, or what about the people that I'd say are more experienced but want to know, am I doing this right, or can I have more of an extra push with my business?
So I wouldn't say we were for complete newbies, no, because they need to come in at a I'm okay on Instagram level. Like, I know how to post, I do stories, but I feel like I'm not seeing anything changing. They're the people who are looking at it thinking, like, I don't know why I'm not getting any movement or growth on this. So it's them, it's for them. So they're not complete beginners. In fact, they're the people who would say statements like, I've lost my mojo, or I've fallen out of love with Instagram. So it's kind of for the people who say that, who once, probably before the pandemic, were smashing it on Instagram. But then the pandemic happened and they didn't go near it for possibly the whole time that they were away from work. And that's totally fine. Like, people needed to heal and recover and didn't know how to handle it online at that time, did they? So people have had big gaps where they haven't gone back to Instagram. This even happens when you have a baby. You know, you come back and you're like, oh my God, it's completely changed. And it has changed. So it's kind of for those people who have a good, I would say at least had a good knowledge of it before pandemic, but now are looking at Instagram going, I don't get this anymore, you know, and thinking that they can still carry on using it the way they used to. My biggest bugbear at the moment is people still using Instagram like 2019, because it's changed, completely changed. And there was a really popular saying, which was Instagram is your shop window. I used to say that too. And that was very much the truth, and that was very much the case. Instagram was your shop window before the pandemic. But what that does is it makes you start to feel like Instagram is, people are on one side of it looking in, but it's not that anymore. It's more the people are in, and you have to kind of build a community for them. So if you are using it like a shop window, like a portfolio where somebody can just look at your Instagram and say, oh, they do some lovely hair, or they do some great nails, you're not doing it right, because it's not about that anymore. It's about, yes, displaying the work, but giving more than just that, you know. So it's adding value, which people must be sick of hearing me say by now, but it's about adding that value, or treating your Instagram like it's a community space or a place of resource or a learning library, let's say, for your clients. So if you can start to kind of get away from the idea of it being a portfolio and go towards the idea of it being this learning library for your clients, like not for anybody else. We don't care about them. We only care about your clients and your new potential clients who are lurking all around the sides because they're there. But if you can always know that every piece of content is valuable for them to get something from, then you will see growth. You won't see growth by just putting a picture of lovely hair on Instagram and saying nice highlights from Mary, because it's just not, that's not giving anybody anything. Like, you have to deepen that, or just give more. So, and I think you could post less, but give more value. So I'm not saying to people like, go out there and do more on Instagram. I'm saying do the same, but make it better, or even do less and make it better. So
it really is about building up that community nowadays, isn't it? Like, it's so huge. Everyone's wanting that community feel. Yeah,
absolutely. And if you look at how your own behavior is on Instagram, you know that, I mean, you scroll past. I mean, I don't even see them anymore, if I'm honest. You know, the generic pictures that the blonde brushed out wave, love it. I actually don't even see it because it doesn't even register as something interesting to my brain anymore. or a set of eyelashes. Like I'm done. I've seen enough now. So I need more, because that's kind of what I'm there for, especially in the different parts of the app. So you're there for different things in different parts of the app. In the newsfeed, I'm looking for a bit more connection. I'm looking for a bit more of that. Like I want to see what my friends are doing, or I want to see what my therapist is up to. I'm looking for connection there. In Reels, I'm not really looking for connection. I'm kind of looking for entertainment. Like I just want something a bit quick, brain off. I'm not looking for anything too deep there. And if I'm in stories, I'm actually really looking for connection in stories. I like to see my friends' faces. That's kind of what I'm there for, and I'm really average. So if I'm doing that, then your audience are doing that too. So I think that's a big part of what I teach on the social club, and kind of why it's not for the beginner who needs to learn how to post, because there's a lot of that kind of chat, But I do have a short course called Intro to Insta, which is that. And it's about 40 minutes long, and it is exactly that. It's like, this is how you post, this is how you do a story, this is how you do this, that, the other, this is a hashtag, this is how you write a caption. It is that. I cannot get people to sign up to that course to save my life. Because the people who need it don't know they need it, and they're not on Instagram for me to reach them. And I find that every time I try and market Instagram on Facebook, which is where the people who need Intro to Insta are, I'm sure it's an algorithmic thing that Facebook aren't pushing out anything that's going to be too laden with me talking about Instagram. I get it. TikTok is the same. You have to know your platform. So it's a brilliant course that I literally can't get it into the hands of people who need it.
It's funny you say that, because I've got a course and it's all about starting a business and real basics and all them things that you should really know about starting a business. And we sell it, but it's definitely the hardest course to sell. And I'm like, you lot are nuts. Like, you do not know how much value is in this course, and you can't build no business without it. Like, it's really funny that the more basic stuff is the hardest.
And I'll tell you what, I did that course. Because there's a lot goes into making a course, So I've filmed it, edited it, got it all looking really gorgeous, got it on my website, did all my sales pages, hit that, thought this course is gonna make me a millionaire. No. No, it hasn't. And it's one of those courses where I just think the people who need it don't know they need it. And that's it.
Oh, we live and we learn, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
So take me back, because you was a salon owner for 18 years. A long time. I'm at 13 years and I feel like I should be retiring. So 18 years.
18 years.
So long. Take me back. Why did you open? Tell me your backstory.
Okay, so I moved over to Cornwall when in the year 2001, and I had worked for Tony and Guy in Dublin. So I'd come from this kind of busy city salon, and I moved to Cornwall. Little bit of backstory on that. I came to Cornwall for the summer while I was on maternity leave, and the plan was to go back to Dublin, to go back to work in September. And I never went back. We never went back. We were just like, oh my God, Cornwall's amazing, a beautiful place to bring up children. And I just thought, I don't know how I can blend motherhood into that busy city salon life. And, so we stayed in Cornwall, which meant that I obviously went to find a job. And I started working in this salon, which was lovely. And it was the best salon in town. But wow, it was so outdated. I'm not offending anybody when I say that, but it had been there for 100 years. It was 100-year-old salon, and definitely some of the practices were 100 years old. And I was like, I found it hard to go from Tony and Guy in Dublin and that like busy, like lots of systems in place and real, I'm not saying they didn't have customer service, they did, but like high-end customer service. It was just very different. It was local, and maybe I had to change some of my ways and my thoughts about what was the right thing to do. But I wasn't happy. And two of the people who were working there with me said to me, look, we're thinking of opening a salon. Would you like to come and be a partner with us? So originally we opened the salon together as three of us, and I was only 25. So I was really young. I was like the age where you're basically like, yeah, I'll do that. Do you know what I mean? Like now I would have a business plan and I'd figure it all out, make sure it was a viable option. But at 25, I was like, oh yeah, that sounds fun. So we did that, and we opened that in 2003. And it started there. We went down to a partnership of 2 after the first 7 years. And then myself and my partner, Nadine, we carried on up until, year 18, where I left to carry on and doing this. We had lots of bumps in the road, as who wouldn't, in 18 years of business. We've been up, we've been down, we've had 12 stylists, we've had 2. So we had literally every obstacle that you can think of thrown at us. 18 years, it's not going to be plain sailing like I thought it would be when I was 25 when I started. We battled, we really did. But I would say the last 8 years of the business were the best. We had figured out all of the systems. We had, I suppose, made all the mistakes. And unfortunately for us, I never knew coaching or learning about your business was a thing, right? So that didn't really exist. I'd never heard of a mentor or a business mentor or anything like that. And I really feel that would have been a massive benefit to both of us, because not only would we have learned how to maybe avoid some of those mistakes that we made, costly mistakes that we made, but we may have learned how to work better with each other as well, because in a partnership of 2 people, and we were young, it started off young, we've gone through a lot of life changes together, like marriages and children and just changes in our own self. And I don't think that maybe we always navigated that the best we could have together, so I think a coach or somebody, an outside influencer, didn't all land back on us, could have definitely helped us. So, it took us the first 10 years of making mistakes to then figure out how to stop making those mistakes. Maybe we could have avoided that bit. I don't know. And I see people now who invest a lot of money and time into coaching and business mentoring, and they do my courses and they do yours, and they learn how to better their skills. And I just think, wow, yes. So really take yourself seriously.
Yeah, I was exactly the same. And I remember, because mine's 13 years, but I remember I didn't get a coach till 6-7 years. So, but then works out about right for me and you started, because you started before me, so you were saying about 10 years, so it's roughly about the same. And I always remember saying, why can't I just have someone that thinks like me that can help me? Like, why is there not anyone? And it wasn't anyone. Like, say, there wasn't such thing as a coach back then, or there might have been, but it wasn't something that we even knew of. And it was really, really difficult. And I just craved having that person that I could pick up the phone to, that had the same mindset, that I could have a cry to, that could pick me up, or I could be like, no, do it this way, this way, this way, that will get you out of that. So now being able to teach people all the mistakes that you've done to fast forward their careers. I'm pulling people out of their salons working on the floor within a year to 2 years, and they're working on their businesses. It took me 8 years to do that.
I know. I completely know. And I do the same in terms of teaching them how to use Instagram. I'm like, I took this long to learn how to get to this point. I'm going to teach you that in 12 weeks, okay? Because I want you to get to this point of growth, or of being able to understand it and use it to grow your business. I want you to get to it quicker, because you don't need to spend 2 years learning this, because I'm going to show you how to get there really, really fast, much faster than I did. You know, because I had to make the mistakes and learn and figure it out for myself. So I'm exactly the same. Why did they exist? Did mentors exist or coaches exist? I don't know.
I don't
The internet
know.
has certainly opened up the world to this, hasn't it, for all of us? I'm not sure if it did. I think working in a big salon group back in the beginning of my career, I know the managers would have like rung head office if they had a problem. So maybe in a salon group you might have had some sort of support from the higher up the ranks. But when you're a salon owner on your own little independent salon in a small town, there's nobody. There is nobody. I mean, who do you ask? There's some governing bodies that don't always give you the advice that you it's not necessarily that you want the wrong advice. You want a friendly ear more than somebody saying, oh, you need to instruct a disciplinary meeting and send them out this and get somebody in to witness it. You're like, oh God, I don't want to go that far. I just want you to say, yeah, that's awful.
Oh God, I know that feeling when it's like, right, you need to do a fact finding and you need to do this, and I'm thinking, this sounds all a little bit drastic. I just want to chat.
I just want to offload onto you and you to understand and say, I get you, Viv. That sounds rubbish. Look, here's a really good idea. Go and speak to the person in question and do it like this. Go out for coffee and out away from the salon. And you're like, that sounds doable, you know? So, but there was nobody doing that bit, like, which is what you do. Do you know what I mean? You need somebody who can be your sounding board, can be a bit of like the mom.
Yeah, I always say I'm the silent business partner that takes no income. Like I am that person you can pick up the phone to, that you can ask anything to. I'll give you my best advice, everything I know, and then you put your phone down and away you go, and you feel so much better after that chat. Like, that's what I feel my role is now, to help other businesses, because that's all I wish I had when I started my business.
Same, and that's it, isn't it? I think that's why both you and I, because we're that type of person that wants to like not see other people struggle, and brilliantly as well, that we've both been able to actually make a business out of it, and there's no shame in that either. No, you know, so it is brilliant, because we're able to support ourselves in a role that supports other people.
Definitely. What was it that made you not have the salon anymore then? So is the salon still running, but with your business partner?
Yeah. So the salon's still going. Well, really honest, I'll be really honest about it. I didn't realize, if I'm completely honest, before the pandemic, that I had already started searching for something else. I'd already started teaching social media. So I'd already started teaching Instagram to hairdressers predominantly, as part of a business coaching group. So I was their social media coach. So I was already doing a weekly live, all about something to do with Instagram. In fact, it wasn't something to do with Instagram at that point. It was social media in general, but I always talked about Instagram because that's where I had all my success. So I'd already started doing that. And part of the success that I was starting to see with Instagram was I was starting to get a lot of really good job opportunities. So good for me. It might not be for everybody's cup of tea, but I started working. I did some TV hair. So I did The Voice, and I worked on BBC Little Mix The Search, and I did Backstage with Kevin Murphy in Paris, you know, and I was getting all of these kinds of really cool opportunities where people were going, wow, like that's incredible, you're working on The Voice. And it was amazing. And looking back now, because it's easier to reflect, isn't it, I was doing everything I could do to be as far away from the salon as possible. And I don't know really why at that time, but maybe it was that I just felt like by this point, I had given so much. I'd given like from 25 up until I was probably nearly 40 at this point, or even just 40. I'd given all of that of my life to growing the team and training and building people up and giving them a career and a platform to be able to then support themselves in their own lives and careers. And I just felt maybe it felt a little bit thankless at times. And I remember that we were invited as a team to go and do Miss Great Britain. So the hair for Miss Great Britain, it's a great show to go and do. And I honestly believed my whole team would be going mad to do it. They love bridal hair and glamour and that kind of thing. And everybody was interested at first, but actually by the time it came to it, it was me and one other girl who went out of a team of 15. So everybody said yes, but then started to make excuses as to why they didn't want to go. And I realized that I'm spending a lot of time trying to bring everybody on that journey with me, and nobody really wants it, so I'm just going to do it myself. And I think I just became a bit selfish about that, you know, and I'm at, you know, I had given a lot of myself and my time over the years, and I loved that that feeling it was giving me. I had been all about the team and everything for the team before, and then I was like, this is something for me. And then when we hit the pandemic, I was heartbroken. Like, I don't think I went to bed and I cried for 2 weeks. I'm sure you felt the same, and I'm sure that lots of people excuse me, who, you know, have salons and teams felt, and just businesses felt exactly the same. It was such a shock. It was such a shock. I was devastated. I couldn't see how we could come through the other side of this. I couldn't see how I could keep the team going. I couldn't, because obviously at this point we had no idea if furlough existed. Or it didn't exist, but we didn't know any of this. I couldn't see how I could support them financially and us, or any of us, and it felt awful. And then I just decided just to let it go. Like, I wasn't in control of it. Like, I'd cried for 2 weeks solid. I barely got out of bed, and I just let it go. And I just said, I can't control what's happening. I can't be there to support them. Each man for themselves at this stage. And it did feel like that in the early days of the first lockdown, didn't it? It felt like you're on your own in it, and you're just going to have to make your own way. And letting go of that responsibility for the first time in 18 years, I felt so relieved. Honestly, I felt so relieved. I just never thought about it again, really. I found it really hard when my business partner was getting back in touch with me towards opening back up again, to muster up any real want to get in touch with the clients. I really didn't want to get in touch with the team. I really didn't want to bring that Viv back, that Viv who loved the team and was really passionate and ambitious about the salon, you know, get growing, getting bigger. But I couldn't find her. She was gone. And I had started, because, you know, like I said, I'd already been teaching social media. So to do something to keep myself busy and to give myself some purpose, I started running boot camps, like 5-night-long boot camps, teaching, you know, Instagram skills to hairdressers, really just for something to do. So I'd already started building this up in the background, this online education, and building a little bit of a platform and growing my audience. And I could see that I would be able to make a proper business out of this. So obviously came the time where I did go back for a little bit between lockdowns. The only way I can describe it was like, in a relationship, if you have ever been cheated on, it felt like that. It felt like I couldn't trust it. It didn't have the same, I didn't have the same love for it. And I just couldn't I just couldn't get back to the feeling of wanting to drive it forward. I wanted to have nothing to do with it. I just found it really hard to go back. So I had to have that conversation with my business partner, you know, and say, I want out. After all of this time, I want out. And that was probably one of the hardest decisions. And still, I don't feel like I've really kind of like, because you know what it's like. You've been in business for 13 years. It's like something that defines you. You know, I am Viv, I am the owner of da da da. And it's hard. It's really hard. It's really hard because you're letting a lot of people down, you know, your clients, for one. In fairness, though, much like you, I had started I didn't work every day behind the chair because I don't believe that is a healthy way to run a business. I think anybody who is working 5 days or 6 days, I'm all for a 4-day week. I'm just putting that out there. I think 5 days a week's ridiculous. So 4 days a week, even for the kids at school, I'm like, come on now. Let's like I'm going to start a movement. It's a 4-day week movement.
I do 4 days. I do 4 days.
Good. 4 days. Like, come on, we need more balance here. You can get as much done in your 4 days. Anyway, that's a whole different topic for a different day. But I had already started working less time behind the chair and more time on the business. For me, that meant creating social media, creating content, training my team in making content, and working on the marketing. So that's what it looked like for me, you know, and I spent 1 day every week doing that. But we'd gone back after the pandemic and it was looking like that was going to be less likely to happen, and everybody had to be back behind the chair, like grafting. And I just thought, I can't do it. I don't love it like I used to love it, and I can't graft that hard behind the chair for something I don't have the love for anymore. So we agreed to part ways, and you know, it's like a divorce, I suppose. In the initial conversations, it can be like sound like it's going to be really easy and there's not going to be any trouble along the way, and oh, we'll make this really amicable, but it's painful for both of us. We've grown up together, you know, so that's where we're at now. I was officially signed off from the salon in December. I keep saying 21, but it wasn't. It was 2020. And since then, I have worked completely on my own. And oh God, it's different, but it's great. I love it.
So you don't regret it?
I don't regret. Oh, no. I don't regret it one single bit. I really, really don't. I love, and this is something I didn't realize that I didn't love, but I love making a decision and just doing it. I don't have to run it past anybody or work it out with some. Actually, in fairness, sometimes somebody does need to come in and say, Viv, seriously, no, you can't spend that much money. You know what I mean? I do need a business partner sometimes, but I just love it just being me. I make decisions to get this coach or invest in this tech or whatever it is that I'm doing to upscale my business. I don't have to really run that past anybody, and I love that.
It's not having to please anyone else other than yourself, isn't it? And
yeah.
I think people will only really understand that when they've been running teams for 10 plus years. At first, like you say, you're so invested in them, it's all about them and growing them, and we love that, and that's why we were in business for so long. But it gets to the point where you're like, I just need to do something for me now. Definitely. And I think just not having other people to worry about so much, and training other people and just being able to reinvest in yourself,
absolutely healthy. Absolutely. And it is hard. And you know, growing a team and managing a team, I don't think I know for a fact that the average person who's employed or working in somebody's business, they have no idea how much time you as their boss spends thinking about them. Like they could never know how much time you have thought about them and planned their future for them more than they probably ever have for themselves.
Mm.
We do sign up to it, you know. We do know what, maybe we don't know what we're getting into, but certain type of people take those roles. Because I loved it for all of the years that I did it. I loved it until I didn't love it, basically. I don't think there was ever a period like really where I was kind of about the whole thing. Like I always do it. If I do anything, I do it like full on. So, but I'm loving now just not having all those people to consider. And it's not that I don't have a team at all, because I do, but they're freelancers, and it's a very different setup. You know, so I have somebody who helps me with IT, and I obviously have, well, not obviously, but anybody who's in our businesses or in our world will realize it is pretty obvious. I have a VA, because like it's a business to run. Like, it can't be everything. One of my really good friends, I don't know if you know her, 𝐒𝐻𝐿𝐴. She's the resilient hairdresser. She's awesome.
Oh, okay.
She does all about boundaries. She says you can't be the workhorse and the show pony. And it's true, isn't it? Because like I'm the face, so I'm turning up, I'm being the show pony, but I can't be the workhorse as well. So it's that. So you do still have a team, but it's not the same. I'm not building their careers.
No,
you know,
it's
they're
so different. It's so different. I have several teams for several businesses, and everyone is very different because of what their work is. It's just so different. So different. So I completely get and resonate with everything that you've said, and your reasons for stepping out. And also, it's very hard to juggle several businesses or two businesses at once, especially when the other one then starts building, like your social media then started building, you started then falling in love with that. It's only natural for them, the love for the other business, to drop slightly. And I think I've really figured that out in business lately. I'd say definitely over the last 2-3 years, because I've gone from having the salon, that being super successful, to then opening my product and training range, that then becoming successful, then doing my business mentoring, that being successful, and then everything kind of just runs. Then COVID hits and everything's starting from scratch again, and you're like, I can't actually do everything. And you can't split yourself in half. You have to have, especially when you're building a business, you have to make sure it has 100% of you. If it only has 50% of you, it's only going to be 50% successful.
That's it, exactly, isn't it? And I see in our industry, both hair and beauty, that there's a bit of a dream being sold to people out there, that they can have both. You know, like that you can have your salon and start doing a little bit of education on the side, which I think you kind of can. But to do that really successfully, like the education side of things, like an academy really successfully, like it's very hard to run that at the same time as running a successful salon, you know. So sometimes I think, and I certainly was one of the people who looked at that and thought, oh, that looks good. That's like 2 different incomes, you know. I'm a believer in multiple streams of revenue. I really am, but there has to be your one really high level, and then additional ones that either feed into it and not kind of take away or conflict with it. So that's for me. I couldn't have done both. I couldn't have run the salon if I'd been a person on my own in the salon, like didn't have a business partner, and done this successfully. I probably could have carried on doing the odd little boot camp every now and again, but I think I would have fizzled out by now. Don't know if people would really, I don't think this business, Hairdresser Social Club, wouldn't have grown to where it is today. It just couldn't have. Because I wouldn't have been able to put the time into it, you know. Definitely. and my business partner, I don't think, I mean, we always tried at least to be equal and do as much as each other. But I think if she had seen me putting all this extra time into a business that she wasn't going to be benefiting from, I think we would have ended up causing issues down the road. Rightly so.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree. It's very, very interesting, but I do think it's important, and everyone listening or watching, to just not spread yourself too thin, because if you start a side hustle, it will always be a side hustle, because you're only putting that side love into it. It's not a full-time gig, but it's just about not spreading yourself too thin. Or those that have salons, like, well, now I want to open up a second salon, but is your first salon 100% running successfully without you? Because if it's not, don't go and open your second salon yet.
Absolutely. Twice the two businesses doesn't mean double the income. It just means double the work, and often can mean less income in both of those businesses. It's never going to be double the income.
No, definitely. I love that we don't sell the dream. I hate false expectations, like being real with people. It's very, very important. But you're really good when it comes to networking. Would you say that all stems from Instagram? Because like you said, you've had them big opportunities, you've been on these shows, you've done famous people's hair. Where does that come from?
Yeah, it's all from Instagram. I swear to you, it's all from Instagram. And it's through networking, it's through understanding that, even back when I was in the salon, it's through understanding that if you want to get noticed by somebody, you know, the person that you want to get noticed by is available to you on Instagram. So I'm just going to use an example. Okay, we changed our product range and we started using Kevin Murphy products in the salon, and we started taking pictures of the products and putting them onto our Instagram. Now, at that point, my goal was I just would have loved to see one of my product shots or something from the salon on Kevin Murphy's Instagram page. Now, that for me was like my goal. I wanted to get recognized by the brand that we used, you know, to say, we see other people's work being shared. And I was just like, how do we get that? And you have to remember, on the other side of that page isn't Kevin Murphy himself. He's not sitting there running the page. Some smaller brands might be, but it's a social media manager on that side who is working in the office, who is there with the other marketing people in that business. So I started to just, you know, like get into the DMs and say, hey, like, I'm Viv. Oh, everybody is accessible now through social media. So it's not like you can't drop into people's DMs. The worst that's going to happen is nothing. So like, if you are desperately would love to go and work on The Voice or something like that, then maybe start interacting with the people who do those shows. Start like liking and commenting, and, you know, find out who they are and be present on their page, and then drop into their DMs and just say, hey, I'm Viv, I specialize in braids, you know, here's some examples of my work. If you were ever looking for anybody, you know, and just strike up a conversation. Even better if you've actually got something that you can offer them, you know, they might say on their stories, they might be asking some advice about something. Even better if you can drop in and say, oh, I know about that, I can help you. So just to know that networking is a bit of give and take, but it's also being willing to kind of put yourself out there a little bit and start conversations, because just following somebody and trying to get noticed by them, it's not going to be enough, you know. And through doing that, I have created, like, I've got an amazing network of people that I'm connected to, that I've had incredible opportunities from and become really good friends with. Like, we all have hundreds of Instagram friends or Facebook friends who we really are friends with. They really are, like, chatting in our inboxes all the time that you've never even met. And it makes you realize also that our industry is really small. It's actually incredibly small, and you can get to where you want really easily if you know what you want at the end of it. So let's just say maybe you want to be on stage at Pro Beauty, or maybe you want to be on stage at Salon International. You know, maybe that's your goal. Well, what you want to do is you want to start putting that type of work that people would be interested in seeing on a stage onto your page, and showing the people that, you know, the powers that be, that you are capable of this, and starting to build a relationship up with the brands that you work with. And, you know, it's all done through networking. It's just never been scared to drop into somebody's DMs. Like if they don't want to respond to you, they just won't, and that's fine.
And I'd say nowadays as well, it's so much easier to do networking. Before, you used to have to go to breakfast clubs. You had to go to, like, do you remember them having to go to a breakfast club, and it was just full of males, and it was just horrible. And you've only got your local areas, or you might be able to travel down to London to go to one of those. But there wasn't social media back in the day. Now it's really at your fingertips if you're going to work it.
Yeah, and I live in Penzance. Do you know where that is?
No.
I'm like 6 miles away from Land's End. So like I couldn't live further away. Like I literally live 6 miles from Land's End. You know, I'm not near London. So the opportunities that I've had without Instagram would never have happened. You don't get like somebody coming and knocking on your door or dropping a leaflet through the door saying, hey, would anybody in there like to work on the voice? Like it doesn't, it's just not how it happens. And especially when you don't live near, you know, the big studios and things like that, you probably have to work that little bit harder to make the first move, you know. And I think I'm a big believer in that. Like networking is definitely give and take, you know. So and I'm not being afraid to walk up and say hello. So the way I describe it on the social club courses is like a party. I'm like, Instagram's a party. So Instagram's throwing a party and you've been invited. And what kind of party guest are you? Are you the type of person who goes to the party, has a little drink, hangs back at the wall, says hello to your friend who you already know, just only speaks to your friend, and then goes home like early and think, that was a bit of a rubbish party? Or are you the type of person who goes to a party, walks up to people you don't know and says, hi, I'm Viv. I do this, that, and the other. Who are you? You know, who does that? Like the party host is going to be thinking, I'm going to invite her to my next party because she is good. You know, so that's how you got to think about it. It's more, you're not just going to go and say hello to your friend and then go home. You're there to network and be sociable. That's hello. Have we not figured this out? It's social media. If we're not being sociable, it's just media. And media is TV. We're not interacting with it. Media is radio, stuff that we're not interacting with. It's pictures and magazines. We're not interacting with it. This is social media. So I've got a tip here as well on that. If you are scrolling your newsfeed and that's where you think you're getting real social in your newsfeed, you're in the wrong place. Okay, scrolling in your newsfeed is doing nothing to grow your business. So I am just begging you to please get out of the newsfeed, get into the explore page, search in the hashtags of your local area, like spend time in other parts of the app that are more niche to you and your local area, and don't be in that newsfeed, because in there the only people you're growing are the people you follow. It's not growing your business by hanging out in that newsfeed too often. So please go over to the explore page and start spending some time in there. Type your town into the search bar, and the first page you'll see will be the keyword search for your town, and spend time in there. That's where you're going to find your new clients, and that's where all of your growth is going to come from.
Vivienne, you've given incredible value. I know that's your favourite word, but it is true. You've given so much value on this podcast. I can't thank you enough. I feel like I've had a one-to-one training session.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm all about giving value. I'm all about there's no need to be holding stuff back or hiding things or being too scared. And often people will come and start the courses with me and they're too scared to give all their knowledge on Instagram in case the salon up the road might get some of that knowledge too. But it's just not how it works. The more you share and the more you give, the more comes back to you. And that's, I think, is that the law of attraction or something like that? I'm not that woo-woo, but it is something like that, isn't it? It's like literally the more you can give out to people, the more you get back in return. And that just works.
Yeah, definitely. And also, like, I do think it is that you give out, you get back, but also when you are giving so much, like you've given so much, I'm like, I want to know more. I want to sign up because I
Yeah,
want to know more. If she's just taught me this for free, then what else is she going to teach me that I pay
yeah,
for? Like, that's my way of thinking. That's why I sign up to everything. I'm such a
yeah.
training junkie. I love it.
Me too. I am as well. I'm terrible as well. But like, we're just that type of person, aren't we? That we just love to know everything. Like, I geek out on this kind of stuff. And yeah, there's so much more to learn. Oh, and I'm so passionate about it. I'm genuinely excited about the opportunity that people can get through Instagram. Like, genuinely excited. Whatever they want, they can have. Like, you want more clients? Let's get them. You want to have industry opportunity? Let's do it. Like, you want to get featured in a magazine? We'll get you there. Like, that, there, I can help you do that. Like, that's possible for everybody. I am, well, when I started, I was like a 40-year-old hairdresser living in Penzance, 6 miles away from Land's End. Like, seriously, if I can do it, you can. I didn't start out as an early adopter of Instagram. I'm not a 21-year-old fitness model. I'm not any of those things. I'm a mum. I'm in my 40s. I live in Cornwall, and I promise you, I can show you how you can get all this too. Like, it is possible. There's no such thing as too old to learn, or I'm a technophobe. I literally won't have people saying that kind of stuff around me. I'm like, no, nobody's a technophobe. It's, you know, people say I'm scared to press the buttons in case I break it. I'm like, you're not going to break it, okay? It's been made. It's been made so it's really like very user friendly.
Yeah, I love that. Where can people connect with you?
Well, Instagram.
Obviously.
So you find me obviously on Instagram. I'm always there. You'll always find me on Instagram. So you'll find me on Instagram under @the Hairdresser Social Club. Or you can go over to my website, which is www.thehairdressersocialclub.com. On there, if you like free stuff, which who doesn't, there are 2 masterclasses that are about an hour long each. One's about planning and one's about reels. And please go watch the masterclasses. They're both, if you never did anything else with me, I know you'll get something from both of those things. So, you know, you drop into my DMs, you can email me. Obviously, all the links are on my website as well, but I'm on Instagram. That's where you'll find me.
Perfect. I will add all the links so you guys can go and check Vivienne out. And yeah, thank you so much for giving up your time. It has been a blast. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed it. You can tell I love talking about Instagram, can't you?
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.